Session of the day then. We're going to take a different slant on things now because we've had a look at analytics, we've had a look at SEO tools, and now we're going to have a look at a little bit about email marketing. So I'll pass you over to Parry from Howling, which is a cool domain name.
Thanks. Wow, loud. All right, so the original title that they gave for this session was a bit crappy. It was like compelling copy and email. And that was like the worst bit of copy ever, right? The thing is, I was really busy and I was supposed to give them a different title, and then I kind of forgot, and then they printed the show guide and the posters. So it's my fault. I didn't follow my own advice. So if you're expecting email and compelling copy, that's cool. You can probably get a few tips on it. But what I'm actually going to talk about is way more interesting. What I'm actually going to talk about is 7 super exciting things that are happening in email marketing right now. Can you believe that there's 7 exciting things in email? It's the most boring channel on the planet. I mean, you guys know that like everybody says it's dead, right? I did a Google search for email is dead a while ago, and there's all sorts of blogs in that going email is dead. And I'm like, well, that sucks because I spend a lot of time in the email channel, and if it's dead, then I need to go on welfare or something. That would be kind of a bummer. But then, oh, whoops, but then there's this like weird like Republican Democrat fight going on in the online world where you have some people going email's dead and then everybody else is going no it isn't dead, and it's this weird stupid narrative that adds no value to the online experience. So I made a pact at the start of this year that every time I read a blog or I saw a tweet or I saw something saying email is dead or email isn't dead, that I'm going to kill a baby unicorn. So every time you see it online, just know that I've killed a baby unicorn and I've enjoyed doing it because those little bastards are asking for it. So basically, right, here's some stuff about me. I'm Parry Malm, president of Howling. In previous lives, I was a commercial director for a software as a service marketing technology platform and head of marketing at a FTSE 250. So I was eConsultancy's #1 guest blogger in 2013. Booyah. Get in. Yeah, wicked. And just to qualify myself as being able to talk about like gambling and stuff, I did start a poker tournament in uni for charity because I learned very early on that I am a shit poker player, but I can actually exploit other shit players by running tournaments for them. So anyways, I thought you guys might get a kick out of that, right? No? All right. Oh, whoops. Okay, so here's some stuff about my company, where I think there's too much stuff out there about people claiming to be gurus and ninjas and Jedis and stuff like that, and it's just a boring bit of jargon. You don't need a friggin' guru or a ninja or a Jedi. So I say you need marketing with teeth. Here's the stuff I do, but I'm not going to do a shameless plug because that's boring for you guys, right? All right, so if you have questions, because I know that there's been loads of questions all the way throughout. Getting some feedback here. All right. I know that you guys have been asking so many questions all throughout. That's what we were just talking about. So if you do have any questions, you can tweet them to me at Parry Malm. You can put your hand up or you can just shout really loud. But I'm a pretty loud guy, so good luck, right? All right, 7 super exciting things about email, right? You guys ready? You guys stoked? Yeah. All right, simmer down. All right, first one. Responsive email design is now known as email design. Are you guys getting that feedback, or is it just me off the monitors? It's just me? All right, don't worry about that. Right, so you guys know what responsive design means, right? Where when you get like emails and you look at it on different platforms, it snaps to what the platform is, right? Now, for a long time, you had all of these email experts who were going, we can make your templates, we can make your emails responsive. You'll get a way better response rate on iPhones and on Androids and stuff like that. And they charge you like $5,000 for it. And you go like, well, that's great. Thanks very much for your help. So that's become a commodified trade. It's boring. If you don't have responsive designs currently, you should hop on the train. And now, when you design emails, they should inherently be responsive. Why, you ask? Does anybody recognize that guy? That's Carlton from the Fresh Prince, right? I'm kidding, it's the president, right? Now, he is probably the busiest guy on the planet, right? Like, is anyone here busier than him? Okay, so let's qualify that. He's probably busier than everybody here and busier than most of your customers, right? I think we can agree on that. So, he is an incessant smartphone user, as are all of you guys, I bet, right? So the thing is, user experience has been talked about on the web a load of times, but people never talk about user experience with an email. And the thing is, people experience emails. Oh, here's a responsive design example. I really timed that slide out well, didn't I? I should have shown that first. Oh, well. damn it, I had some great stats in there. So people use their smartphone way more than anything else. And when you use your smartphone, the first thing you do is check to see if you get new emails. You see the little thing turning, you're like, oh, one new email, and you check it. Incessantly check it, incessantly check it. People check their smartphones, check their email over 100 times a day. And if you ask yourself, I bet you guys do too, right? So people respond to the email channel, but they don't respond to emails that look crappy. So for you guys who send out stuff through the email channel, simple advice, do it responsive. It's 2014. I mean, it just needs to be done, right? All right, that's the number one super exciting thing, which is actually kind of boring, but whatever. All right, so here's a groundbreaking statement. Everyone sit down. You're going to want to sit down for this. This is groundbreaking, I'm telling you. So email marketers who send out more emails make more money. Whoa, you know, as long as the emails aren't spam and crappy in that, right? I'm basing this on science. Right, so there's a whole bunch of spam out there, and there's a whole bunch of what they call bacon. You guys heard this stupid phrase bacon, where it's like kind of spam, kind of not, and every week they come up with a new pork product, right? Clearly, the guys who make up stuff about email aren't Jewish. It's always a pork product, right? I don't get it. So here's a whole bunch of pork products. Every time there's like a new thing. And the thing is, right, what most people think is they have this problem. They're like, oh, if I send out too many emails, people are going to disengage, and they're going to unsubscribe, and they're going to hate me and stuff. And that's just kind of silly. The reason being is it's a concept of inbox branding. Have you guys heard of this phrase, inbox branding, before? All right, inbox branding, TM, copyright, Parry, Malm, 2014. Okay, so inbox branding. How many people get emails from Amazon? Right, okay. You guys don't read? Illiterate gambling industry, I tell you. Jeez, I'm kidding. You guys you look very nice. Don't beat me up later. Right, okay, so for those of you who get emails from Amazon, right? When's the last time you opened one? Probably never, right? Or once in a blue moon. When's the last time you clicked on one? And when's the last time you opened one, clicked on one, and then went through the Amazon purchase cycle and then bought a book directly off of the email channel? Like never, right? So Amazon must be stupid, right? They must be stupid to waste your time with all those emails and annoy you with them. Or maybe they aren't stupid, because I bet the last time you bought a book, you went directly in your browser to Amazon.com and bought a book. So what they're doing is they're using email as a branding channel. They realize that when your brand shows up in your inbox over and over and over and over, it's retaining top-of-mindedness. Now, this is a very interesting point. Who has bought a can of soda in the last month? Can of Coke or like whatever? Right, okay. You guys don't read or drink soda? What the hell? What the hell do you do for fun? It's ridiculous. Man, I gotta go to better conferences. Okay, so when you bought a soda last time, right? Did you walk into the shop and go, hello, shopkeep? I saw a billboard for Coca-Cola outside, so I would like to buy a can of that, please. You didn't, right? But you see Coke sponsorship, and you see their branding, you see their above the line, below the line advertising everywhere, which makes that brand stay top of mind. Email is the same thing. So you can do it through email display or through online display channels. You can do it through SEO, you can do it through paid search. But the thing is, when you have somebody's email address, legitimately obviously, what you can do is send them direct branded messages into their inbox instead of hoping they go to your site or some site in a display affiliate network. It's hugely powerful. So the next time that somebody says you're sending out too many emails, tell them they're an idiot. Don't tell them that. That's mean. Right. So the next point is people are checking emails everywhere all the time. Like this lady who's doing two things at once. You got Obama. This guy is amazing. He's kissing his wife. His kids are fighting, and he's checking email. That's pretty amazing, right? Justin Bieber, who's a bit of a wanker, and then I put a picture of Dee Snider up. That's just because he's kind of cool, right? The lead singer of Twisted Sister. Anybody? He's wicked. Right. So the thing is, people are checking emails all the time, everywhere. So when you send out emails and you want to retain that top-of-mindedness, you need to send things out frequently in an ongoing basis. Now, I'm going to talk about content strategy in just a second. Like I said before, here are those stats I was looking for, right? The average person unlocks their smartphone 40,000 times a year. So if they spend 30 seconds on it, that's 14 days that people spend on their smartphone every year. Now, ask yourself this. When you unlock your phone, How often do you check your email? Pretty much every time, right? Pretty much every time. So do your customers. So do your consumers. All right, number 3, it wouldn't be a conference here if I didn't at least talk about Google, right? For anyone who's been in the previous sessions, you've heard all about Google, but I'm going to say that Google are good at email. And this is a really important point, because Google, for the last few years, they've been market leaders for webmail-based email clients. So you guys remember the old Gmail inbox that was like this, where it just sort of listed all of your stuff in one place? They tried that stupid priority inbox for a while, right? Which didn't really work. So then there was a cataclysmic shift where they went to the promotions tab. And I was going to update this picture because it's changed a bit, but I couldn't get wireless here because apparently at exhibitions it's hard to get wireless. But what it is now is Gmail is turning into Pinterest. It's turning into an email version of Pinterest. And the other main webmails are going to follow soon enough. So what's happening is instead of seeing a list of emails like that, what you start seeing is basically pictures. See 2 or 3 across, pictures, and you see the subject line, and that's it. So what this means is that, first of all, your subject lines are more important than ever, and second of all, your imagery can be much more powerful because it's not gated by requiring somebody to open it. They see it natively in their webmail client. Now, the beautiful thing about the promotions tab is people go in there when they're in buying mode. The way it used to be on the old one is you had everything stuck in there all at once, yeah? And you would look at it, and whether you were or were not in buying mode, you were bombarded with all this stuff. Now, you look at your primary stuff. You see messages from mom. You see stuff from Facebook. You see your updates from forums. And then in promotions, when you're in buying mode, you go in there to see what offers you're being given. Hugely powerful. So now email is not about being sent at the right time. You send email with a strong image and a strong subject line. You're now getting people when they're in buying mode. Not at your convenience, but at their convenience. It's a cataclysmic shift. So, Google, when this first started, everybody said it sucks, right? Google's trying to screw us over. Everybody hates Google now. They're the new Microsoft, right? Where Microsoft was nice, then they were evil. Then Google was nice, now Google's evil, right? The thing is, this is what every other email client is going to be doing in the next year or 2 years. So Outlook.com, which is the new Hotmail, Yahoo, AOL, everything is going to be doing this. So what you need to start thinking about is your subject lines. Now, despite being devilishly handsome and witty, I'm also, believe it or not, the world's leading expert on email subject lines. I'm great at parties, too. God, I need to get better hobbies. Right, so I've done a whole bunch of research, and my most recent piece was pretty neat, where I looked at 2.2 billion emails. I wanted to go 3 billion, but it just felt a bit conceited, right? So I stuck at 2.2, 95,000 campaigns. And I looked at the actual effect that keywords and subject lines have on response rates within the email channel. Now, I learned a bunch of stuff, and I did learn that there is a massive short-run variance from word to word. So if you use the word buy instead of purchase, in the long run, you get better open rates. But what I learned after that was more interesting, where the words only matter when it's part of an inbox branding campaign. So what a lot of companies in the affiliate industry do is they send out the same message over and over and over. It's stuff like, I don't know, like sign up now or 50% rake back, or just the same stuff over and over and over, right? And what they're doing is they get, a crappy response rate the first time. They don't have time to think of something more creative, or they simply can't think of something more creative, and you get the same response rates decaying over time. So people aren't thinking of this inbox branding concept, working out a subject line content plan to actually build up your brand value in people's inboxes over time. It's a hugely powerful channel. So what I've started doing, and my next piece of research is not out yet, but it's going to be really cool, is I've started using semantic machine learning to actually look at sentiment within subject lines in various phases of a campaign plan. Because what you don't care about is if you send somebody one email if they click on it. What you care about is if you send somebody a series of emails and then they turn into a paying customer. Clicks don't matter. If you use clicks as like a fundamental metric and you look at it on a campaign by campaign basis, you're missing the trick. If you're looking at short run variance, what you care about is a long run effect that your inbox branding has on your revenue cycles. Does that make sense? if you guys want to find out more about this study, drop me a Twitter, a LinkedIn, an email. I'll show my contact stuff afterwards. All right. So I got 2 examples of inbox branding here. So one is from Travelodge, because since I'm a highfalutin president, I stay at the Travelodge still. Great. So the Travelodge, that's gotten really loud. I think it's like a Harry Redknapp disco. I met Harry Redknapp before. It was great. I said, hey, Harry, when are you going to take over England? And he goes, I don't need that trouble, mate. Fair enough. But, right. So Travelodge have a really interesting inbox branding strategy. These are messages that I got within a 1-month period in October 2012, right? So it's stuff like 10 pounds off a Travelodge stay. Plan your winter getaway from 21 room. Don't miss out, last day of 15-pound rooms. Thousands of 15-pound rooms still available. So Travelodge have what I call a discount-focused inbox branding strategy. They want you to think of Travelodge as being a discount brand. So what they do is they reinforce this point on a frequent basis over and over and over, letting you know that they're a discount brand. This is their strategy. Now, a lot of people think that that's a good strategy for their business. If you're Poundland, if you're Aldi, if you're Lidl, if you're Travelodge, that's a great strategy. But most people in most businesses don't want to be a discount brand. They want to be a premium brand, or at least they would like to be a brand that offers something unique to the marketplace. So here is another cool example. Does anybody here live in North London? Yeah, North London's great. Represent. So basically, this is a really cool website that is called farm-direct.com. Check it out. What they do is they basically have connections with all sorts of local farms in near London, and then it's like an online supermarket. They bring it straight to your door. It's great. Now they've got a fantastic inbox branding strategy. What they do is they send out 2 emails every week, right? So, did I put both in here? Yeah, I did. Okay, so you look here. One is a fish email, and one is a other stuff email. So one is just landed, haddock, monk, and sole. Then the next one is Suffolk beans, wild squirrel, and oxtail. Has anybody ever tasted squirrel? Weird, right? White sprouting broccoli, wild game and mutton, traditional chicken, rejuvenated greens, and game sale. So what they're doing is they aren't offering discounts. They've got a product differentiation strategy with their inbox branding. What they're doing is they're letting people know what's different about their product line on a weekly basis. Not a single offer here whatsoever. And yet, these guys have doubled in size from the email channel in the last 12 months. All right. So the next one, does anybody here, you guys, I guess, must use email as a marketing channel. You must use social as a marketing channel, or else if you don't, then what the hell are you doing here, right? So there's been a real trend in the marketing technology world in the last kind of 24 months or so, where it's consolidated rapidly, extremely rapidly for insane sums of money. So, $2.5 billion. You know what you can buy with $2.5 billion? You can buy 50 Boeing 777s, 16,000 Ferraris, 714 million tall lattes, 16,000 nights with me. Anything goes. So, I'm just saying, if I'm not busy tonight, it's fine. Or one company that sends out email. One company that sends out email and loses $330 million a year. Gotta love Silicon Valley, right? Gotta love it. So what is happening in the market now is big people are buying up other big people. So Salesforce bought ExactTarget, which is a sort of multi-channel marketing platform, right? And then, let's see, Salesforce bought ExactTarget, Adobe bought Neolane, Oracle has bought Responsys and Eloqua. There's a bunch more. I mean, the Trinity Mirror bought Communicator Corporation. It's just this ongoing consolidation in the marketing technology world. So what does this mean to us? Whoops, I skipped like 2 slides there all at once. That's pretty good. Okay, so have a read of this. Which ones do you think are true? The answer is all of them. So, when markets consolidate, there's there's basically a race to the bottom in terms of pricing. What happens is they're all trying to buy market share. They're all competing for broadly similar products because the market has become technologically and price-based commodified. So now is a great time to be a buyer of marketing technology. And if anybody is buying right now, you've got so much buying power due to the heightened competition, right? It also leads to innovation. I'm going to touch on that in just a second because it's not the big guys who innovate right now. They're too big. Big companies fundamentally lack the corporate structure to innovate. But that creates market inefficiencies that allows small innovation-focused startups to come out with really cool products. I'm going to tell you about a few of them in a sec. So yeah, it leads to lower prices. It also importantly leads to erosion of service. So if you're working for a company which is purchased by another big company, what you generally find is they'll tell you everything's going to be okay, nothing is going to change, and then 6 months later, everything changes and you want to stab them. It's just sort of the natural progression of mergers and acquisitions. Which means that there's a great opportunity for people who are in the market for technology to really diversify the various products which they use on a regular basis. So lastly, consolidation is good for marketplaces because it gives you lots of great kit that you can get for a really cheap price. So I mentioned some really cool, innovative startups in the email channel. Here's just a few, and if you guys don't know these guys, you should check them out. So Live Intent, I'm going to touch on in just a second, so I'll leave that. Litmus is basically an email preview tool where you send emails into their platform and it previews it across like 46 different email clients. You can see what it looks like on iPhones before you send it and fuck it up, basically. Oh, I didn't mean to say the F word. Sorry, it slipped out. I get nervous and I swear when I'm nervous. Nervous Tourette's. Right. Movable Ink and Kick Dynamic are somewhat similar, where you basically have responsive images within emails. So it would be like if you were a restaurant and you sent an email out at 11 o'clock and somebody opened it then, it would show a lunch offer. And if they opened it at 5 o'clock, it would show a dinner offer. Now, this is hugely powerful stuff. Just imagine if you have a limited time offer. You know, if you offer, I'm trying to think of a good example, but I can't, you know, which ends in like 2 days. And if somebody opens it after 2 days, you don't want to show what the offer is. Or if you have a limited number of places for people to sign up as affiliates or something like that, right? That you can actually keep a running count on these things, which is fantastic. So Live Clicker is a really cool company. What they do is they allow you to serve video within emails. Now, the problem historically has been serving video within emails doesn't work because most email clients don't accept it. What they've got is a way to actually host it, render HTML5 code, so it actually plays within the majority of clients, and those in which it doesn't play, it just shows either an animated GIF or a static GIF. It's really powerful tech. And then lastly, Mail Monitor. So there used to be a market leader in deliverability monitoring, and deliverability is so boring, I'm not going to talk about it, I'll put you all to sleep, but it's basically getting a gauge of what your inbox placement is. So when you send out emails, how many go into spam, how many go into the inbox. The market was dominated by a company called ReturnPath for a long time, who became a big company, stopped innovating, and in came Mail Monitor, who is stealing market share from them massively, partially because they're cheaper and partially because it's more reliable service. So I'm guessing a lot of people in your industry have some strong spam issues just because of the content which is sent out and because of engagement rates with people and whatnot. You might want to check out these guys to get a real hold on it. All right, only 3 more to go. Great. Okay, so marketing automation will create lots of automated spam 50% of the time. You guys know this latest buzzword, right? Marketing automation. Oh, I love it. It's so good. Has anybody seen Anchorman? Right? So you know Sex Panther, right? I think of marketing automation as Sex Panther because 50% of the time it works all the time. The thing is you just don't know which 50% of the time it's going to work. Which is a great allegory for my love life right now, but I'll touch on that later. Okay, so basically here's some Transformer things. I can't remember why I put that in there. Oh well. Okay, so first of all, there's a bunch of problems that come up with marketing automation. First of all, if you have crappy data, then you get stuff like this. I signed up for a trade show. This was in London. It was this was in about 2007, the International Direct Marketing Fair, which has since died, but And I thought I would have a bit of fun, because I thought a direct marketing fair, they must have some great data validation tools going on, right? So I signed up, and you know how you put in a title, and you can put in Mr. or Doctor or something. I was just playing a bit of a joke on them, and I put in the word poop, just to see if they would cleanse it. And still to this day, I get a magazine addressed to Poop Parry Malm through an automated process, right? So when you're going to automate stuff, you really need to look at your data to make sure that you don't make a silly mistake. There's nothing worse than being called poop. All right. So secondly, outliers happen all the time. So this was actually one of the first 10 tweets ever written about big data. Can you believe that? Right? So this whole big data thing, right, is a load of bollocks, because nobody actually has big data except for maybe Facebook and maybe Amazon, right? The whole thing is, what marketing automation stuff? They think that they can put stuff into this big machine learning engine and then it'll spit out the best answer just sort of magically. What it doesn't take into account, especially when you have reasonably small data sets, is that outliers happen all the time. The nature of normally distributed data is that outliers just happen. There's nothing you can do about it. And if you create this program, say that if somebody downloads a report from you and then you send them an email, and if they click on it, you send them something, you've got this whole propensity to purchase model in place that may work most of the time, but you're going to be throwing away all sorts of opportunity from these outliers. So what I've seen is half the time when it doesn't work, what people do is they construct this like super complicated flowchart, and they put it into some sort of a marketing automation system, and they leave it and let it run. And they forget what it's supposed to do, they forget how it works, they quit, they get fired, whatever. Somebody comes in, tries to deconstruct it, and it's a catastrophic failure. Or sometimes it works fantastically. The problem is, what people don't do with these things is they don't test them out. They don't test out automated programs against the status quo. So what they do is they get sold a bill of goods from a marketing automation company going, you should come with us, automation is the future, have you not seen the latest buzzword, we're amazing. Then they put it in place and they just assume it works. And they have to sort of self-justify that it works because they just whacked, 50 grand on it. And if they don't say that it works to their bosses, then they're going to get fired. An astute marketer would actually test things out. What was this one? Perfectly predict the past, right? So I grew up in the great city of Vancouver, and I think I've got a bit of an allegory here. So one problem with marketing automation too is that you base your propensity model upon past behavior. So you assume that your customers are going to act the same in the future as they did in the past. So basically, in a perfect world, with every other variable being held constant, this will happen every time. But the thing is, the world changes. Your competitive landscape changes. Your in-house resources change. The way people respond to messaging changes. So the story here is that in 1994, my beloved Vancouver Canucks ice hockey team got to the Stanley Cup Finals. We were playing those dastardly New York Rangers. Got to the 7th game, and we lost in the 7th game. And Vancouverites tend to be quite violent drunks, I suppose. I'm not. I'm quite a nice drunk. But so what they did is they thought, our team's just lost. Let's kick the shit out of our city. So there was a 60,000 person riot, a few $1 billion worth of damage. Sucked. So we went through all of the inquiries and blah blah blah, and they said never again. Never again. Until 2011, when my beloved Vancouver Canucks got to the Stanley Cup Finals again. They were playing the dastardly Boston Bruins. And they lost in the 7th game. And guess what? They kicked the shit out of the city again, but this time even bigger. So basically, if you assume that things are going to be the same in the future as they were in the past, they sometimes might be, but actually that allegory makes no sense. It kind of just counteracts what I just said. Damn. But it's a good story though, right? All right, so lastly, correlation does not equal causation, right? So I want you all to read this very carefully and realize that you're all in grave danger right now. There's a 100% correlation between those who die and those who at some point in their lives have either breathed oxygen or consumed water. So think about that the next time you take a breath. The whole problem with marketing automation campaigns is people don't do enough research to find out the causal links between things. So just because somebody clicks on something doesn't mean that it's a buying signal. Or because somebody follows you on Twitter, for example, that's not a sign of purchase intent. What that is somebody moving their finger like that. Not the same thing as purchase intent. It could potentially drive towards purchase intent, but you don't know that. Currently, all you know is that there's a correlation between clicks and people buying stuff. So be very wary when automating your campaigns that you don't fall into that trap and stop drinking water and breathe in the air. All right, number 6, custom audiences, CRM retargeting. Is this a phrase that you guys know? Cool. So some people know it, some people probably don't. Custom audiences is what Facebook call it, but they've trademarked it now. So I call it CRM retargeting. So this is the biggest revolution in online advertising since paid search. Who here has an email list? Right, okay, and who has like a Twitter account for their business or a Facebook account for their business? And do you buy display ads throughout the internet on various sites and different newsletters and whatnot? So what custom audiences or CRM retargeting is you can take your CRM list, your email newsletter list, you can upload it to disparate platforms, and then only target those people. So the way that you traditionally did advertising on, for example, Facebook, is you would say, okay, if somebody, I don't know, likes roulette, let's show them ads. But the thing is, if somebody likes something, once again, it's not a sign of purchase intent. It's a sign of moving their finger like that. And the reason why they're doing it could be a show off to their friends. It could be, to create this sort of megalomaniacal persona that we all, create on social media. So what you can do, instead of targeting like that, you can upload your email list of your prospects, of your customers, and target only them. Hugely powerful, no more waste. Now, you can do that on 4 places right now. And I've only put up 3 logos, which was, I blame the wireless. Okay, so you can do that on Facebook. It's called a custom audience. Now with Facebook, you can also do something really cool, which is called a lookalike audience. And this is where you upload a custom audience, and then Facebook uses some big machine learning data thing to create a lookalike audience of the 1% of people on Facebook who are most similar to the list you uploaded. Now think about that. Chances are the people on your customer list, their friends or people similar to them are going to be interested also. So this is actually a programmatic way of doing this. On Twitter, they call them tailored audiences. And then live intent are a really cool one, especially to target people on the email channel. What they've created is they've created a online display network within the email newsletter channel. So it's just like now you would use the GDN, for example, to show display ads on various sites. It's like that, but only within email newsletters. Now you can upload your first-party CRM data to live intent, and then only show ads to those people in third-party newsletters. So for example, they work with the New York Times and the Guardian. People who get the New York Times newsletter would get that, and your ad would be showing up there. And people would think, holy cow, these guys must have spent a lot of money getting that display ad in a third-party, editorial newsletter. But you haven't. All you've done is bid on that person within a real-time bidding platform to only show ads towards them. So the fourth one is called retargeter.com, and this is site-based CRM retargeting. So you upload a list, and then when people log in to various sites around the internet, it shows your ad only to those people. So shameless plug, I'm Europe's largest trading desk for live intent and retargeting, or retargeter.com, blah blah blah. But I promise I wouldn't do any shameless plugs, so whatever. All right, so why should you care? Actually, I'm going to skip that. So the main thing is the problem with cross-channel attribution. It's like being on Loot. Nobody knows how to actually do cross-channel attribution. It's too hard. There's too many channels, and you don't know what affects what. Because your Facebook is fundamentally disconnected from your email, which is fundamentally disconnected from your Twitter, which is fundamentally disconnected from your search, and so on and so forth. And there's no way of figuring out the aggregate effect that each channel has on each other. So what you do instead is you've got a Facebook budget, you've got a paid search budget, a SEO budget, you've got an email budget, and you measure ROI of the individual channels. Now, the problem with that is that direct response channels, their effectiveness gets over-reported, and branding channels get under-reported. So then you switch out of branding channels and only do direct response channels. And then your direct response ROI goes down. So then, it creates this whole thing where you don't really know what's going on. So I'm going to take you through, let me see if I can do this right. The future of email. That's I can't remember what that one. I really need to practice these things, right? All right. So this is marketing in 2014. This is what people are doing currently. All right. So let me know if this sounds about right. You start like this. Because people love to read emails and buy stuff from it. So you just send out more. And the first one you got a few sales from is you send out another one and another one. The same message, trying to get more sales. Trying to harvest that list, which has already been harvested a million times. And then you do this. Right? Or you put something on Facebook or Pinterest or blah blah blah, where it's just it's very flaky and you don't really get much response from it. You might get a few clicks and stuff. You don't really get too much response. So then you do this because your open rate was 18%. So who's got an open rate of around 18? Lower, higher? I mean, that's about right. 18, 20, let's say, which means that 4/5 of people think you're a dick. They don't want to read your stuff, right? This is why email is so depressing. You spend so much time crafting campaigns and you send it out and nobody cares about it. They don't read it. I mean, if you do your campaign really well, the majority of people won't read it. How depressing is that, right? So you do that and you do the same thing over and over and over, and then you have your Christmas party and you get a bit pissed and you're like, all right, it's been a decent year. Fantastic, right? Fantastic. All right, so this is the future of marketing. This is marketing 2015, linking on to this whole multi-channel attribution concept, which you can only really do with CRM retargeting. All right, so your first stage. Who remembers that old phrase AIDA, right? Attention, interest, decision, action. So all the marketing gurus will tell you it's dead, it doesn't apply anymore. We've got all these fancy flow charts that Harvard Business School made with arrows passing all around and stuff. I call bullshit. The way that people buy stuff has fundamentally not changed in hundreds of years, right? People still need to become aware of something, become interested in something, then make a choice, show purchase intent, and then actually purchase it. Nothing has changed. So what you do, you have an email list. What you do is you bid hard on CPM in every CRM retargeting platform possible and build awareness up. You want to gain eye share. You want to build awareness and interest at this stage. So then you send out a bunch of sales emails. You do all the best practice stuff, right? Because you've warmed them up, right? So you send them stuff out. You test out subject lines, all this kind of stuff. And if testing out 5 subject lines and auto sending to the winner takes you more than 10 clicks, you got a crappy email platform. I'll just tell you right now. All right, and then you can do remarketing. Now, remarketing currently is cookie-based, right? Where somebody goes to your site and they leave, and you stalk them around the internet with ads everywhere. I personally can't stand that. I find it really intrusive. Maybe it's just me. Now, the ROI is good. The ROI, it's not bad. But the problem is, it's a subset of your audience. They have to get to your site first. Right? So the only time that remarketing works is when people have already been pushed to your site from some other marketing channel. So what you're doing when you pay for cookie-based retargeting, you're double paying for a lead effectively. Right? Using this, you've already paid to acquire this data, and then you can remarket them to the people who didn't open, to the people who clicked but didn't purchase, or you can upsell converters, or you can take all of your purchasers in the last month, create a lookalike audience in Facebook, and use that to upsell people. Right? So much more powerful. Now, when you start doing that, this is your Christmas party the next year. All right, so back to boring old PowerPoint. I didn't have time to do it all in Prezi, so whatever. All right, so the last point, and then I'm going to shut up, because I don't know, what time am I supposed to finish? I'm pretty much on time, right? Jesus. All right, well, I'll just talk really slowly. So here's the thing, guys. Email is super boring. It's super boring. Like, when people go to, conferences like this or email conferences, have you guys gone to an email conference ever? I'll tell you, it's so much more boring. This is probably the single most misogynistic exhibition that I've ever been to in my entire life. It's amazing. Does that stuff work with those like girls in bikinis and stuff? I mean, it's just it just seems really gimmicky. Anyways, I shouldn't say that, right? But yeah, at email conferences, the best thing you get is like a notepad. But, I guess you could draw a picture of a bikini girl in a notepad. So the whole problem with email, right, is that it just kind of sucks, it's boring, and it hasn't changed for such a long time. It's just been, you load up HTML, you load up a list, and then you send it out, and it's like, all right, I've done that a million times, I get a few responses, I'm bored of it. The thing is, we're in the golden age of email right now. So you remember in 2009 where Mark Zuckerberg famously said that email was dead and that Facebook was going to kill it? Here's a bit of irony for you. Guess who is the world's largest sender of email? It's Facebook. Because you get updates when somebody tags you in a picture. You can opt out. I've opted out, but most people haven't, right? So you get updates about when people tag you. You get updates of this and that. You remember when you used to have a site like iTunes, say, and you had a username. You remember the username? The username's dead, right? You used to have to, you'd go into iTunes and try to buy something, and you'd forget your username. So you'd have to go, remind me of my username. So then they'd email it to you, right? And then you go, I forgot my password. So they'd email it to you. So they switched over from username to email. Now, I'm guessing most of you guys aren't Dutch, and if you are, you definitely leave the country once in a while. So you all have passports, I'm guessing. Everybody here, right? So if you guys change countries, notwithstanding the Schengen region, but let's just say you're going to England or something, right? You have to show your passport, right? Now, what's happened is if you don't have a passport, you don't exist as a citizen. If you don't have an email address, you don't exist as a digital citizen. You need your email to log into Facebook. I guess you can log in using your phone number, but have you ever actually met somebody who does that? It's ridiculous. You need it to log into Twitter, to LinkedIn. You need it to log into Amazon, to iTunes, probably all of your platforms which you guys are here representing. Your email is actually your digital passport. So every time that people say email is dead, email is not dead, this is it's an irrelevant narrative. It doesn't matter if email is alive or dead. The fact is, every one of your customers has an email address, and it's a one guaranteed thing they all have. Some of them will have Facebook, some of them will have Twitter, some of them will have LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. I guarantee every single one has an email address. So email for a long time was like this. It was the mullet, right? It was the mullet, where it's just sort of, it might have been cool at some point, but now it's just email sucks, it's super boring. The thing is, there's been so much more innovation in email in the last 2 years than there has been ever in its existence, and it's the one channel that lasts. So if you look at the stats that I'll find, hang on, just let me backtrack. I think I meant to show this and I forgot to. This is a great slide. I've stolen it from my friend Dave at Live Intent, that company I mentioned. He's a really nice guy. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. Okay, cool. Check this slide out. See, I sourced it with Dave. So this is what happens in 1 second on the internet, right? 463 Instagrams, 800 Tumblr posts, 1,000 Skype calls, 4,000 tweets, blah, blah, blah. 12,000 Dropboxes, 33,000 Google searches, 46 YouTube views, 50,000 Facebook likes, and holy cow, 1.6 million emails sent in 1 second on the internet. So I think the point is not if email is alive or dead. I think the point is email is actually the web's killer app. People have ignored it for a long time with the various digital gold rushes. Every few years, there's a gold rush. You remember the phrase Web 2.0, right? That was a massive gold rush. Everybody was using it. If you said Web 2.0 now, people would laugh you off the stage, right? Then you had big data, which was a real trend, and social media, which was a real trend, and then all of these various things, right? But the one constant has always been email, right? So I'm not saying this because because I'm an email guy. I work across all channels. I'm saying this because I've worked with hundreds of brands. I've worked with thousands of marketers. And the one channel that fundamentally makes the most money, the one channel that drives the most response, the most engagement, time and time again, is email. And if it's not, then you're doing something wrong. All right, so this is a picture of a dead unicorn, because I said email is dead. Email is not dead a few times. I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to leave you guys with just a couple more thoughts, right? I know that email is boring, that there's way more exciting stuff out there. I know that you guys probably spend a lot of time looking at SEO and paid search, and those are extremely valuable acquisition channels. Extremely valuable. Probably the most valuable acquisition channels. But a lot of people don't focus enough on what is the most powerful retention channel. Once you get a person's data, even if they aren't a customer at that stage, the best way that you can connect with them is email. And people spend so much time focusing on the acquisitive channels, they don't spend much time looking at how to actually keep customers or upsell customers or build customers. And people have been throwing away money on social media advertising for far too long. Because nobody's really doing it. Because social media, it used to be run by PR when it first came out. And then it was run by the SEO team. And now it's run by the digital team. And the thing is, everything should be in one place at one time. Because when you get to the point in your marketing functions that you have a multi-attribution model and you can work out statistically the uplift that various social channels give on the email channel. And when you have things working in the right order, so you have organic search and paid search to have incoming traffic, and then you capture emails. Then you use CRM retargeting and emails to build awareness, build attention, and drive them into a purchase funnel. And then you close them down with that final email. That's how things work. It's AIDA, and each channel has its own specific purpose. So, right, just before I finish and see if there's any questions, I'm just going to leave you with one fundamental thought. If you take away one thing from me getting up here and gabbing this entire time, let it be this, yeah? Email might be boring, but if you do it well, it's going to make you a lot of money. It might not be sexy, might not be a girl in a bikini at a stand in Amsterdam. It might be a guy with a mullet in a back room in London, but it works. Thanks a lot.
Very entertaining. Thank you. Made me smile and made me laugh. Not many presentations have done that today. Questions from the floor. Oh, the gentleman standing up there. Obviously, you must want a question. You going to the toilet? Okay.
Have a nice time.
Anybody else want to stand up? No? Cool. Questions? See? You see how this works? It's like you could have spoke for another 10 minutes.
That probably wouldn't have been a problem, but I'm getting a sore throat. So.
Yeah. Oh, sweet deal.
Thank you. Great show, anyway. People in our country are telling us not to send too many emails because then it's going either to spam or people are bored of it or they're tired of it. And you're telling us to send a lot of emails or a good amount. So how to do it actually right? What's the right amount? How to find it? Because, for example, a couple of years ago, I bought a first thing on ASOS. And ASOS keeps sending me 5 emails a week, and I actually love them because they always send me what I like, and I keep buying there. So they are doing it right, and we would like to also doing it right. So how should we do it?
The answer is maybe. So that's a great example, actually, where what they do is they've got an email content program. And I find that since sort of social and search have taken precedence over email within most marketing functions, email's taken a back seat, and people don't spend time to actually think of a content-based program. So not every message you get on those 5 days is saying, like, buy this now, buy this now. What they're doing is they're showing you product. And they're saying, here are the various benefits, here's the latest products, here's things, you know, that you can buy here, but it's not saying, buy now, here's an offer code, buy now, buy now. Now, you think about Groupon, like, if you guys are like me, you signed up to Groupon, 4 or 5 years ago when it first came out, and then you basically had it for a year, you open it for the first month, you got a couple of crappy haircuts and a couple of half-ass massages, and then you unsubscribe or it just goes into your junk box, right? Because what they do is they send out the same message every time going cheap, 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 cheap. So they've got that discount strategy for products that are fundamentally not discount products. It's got a bit of a commercial dissonance going on. So basically, what I would say is the number of emails you should send out is going to be a function of your content strategy and your ability, your resource in-house to come up with that content and ultimately a strategy as well, which is incidentally what I do. Anyways.
The one about the Amazon thing as well. Sorry, is I buy so much off Amazon. I think that Amazon is now the internet. I don't know why, but it's the emails they do send me. I think they've got it absolutely nailed. Because not only do they send me the ones that this item is still in your basket because you haven't bought it yet. Do you want to check it out because they're going out of stock? I always buy off those. I panic buy, you know what I mean? It's like, it could be 3 o'clock in the morning, my phone's just buzzed because an email's come in. Yes, I definitely need that bucket for camping this week. And the other emails they send me is that things that I viewed as well. And I would never unsubscribe from Amazon. Groupon, you're right, it's like exactly the same scenario. But I must probably, I've not checked my phone all day. It's in my wife's handbag, but I can guarantee there'll be Amazon emails there that I may buy from.
Well, I think one rule of thumb that you can broadly follow. I mean, I work with a number of sort of like mid-tier pure play e-commerce companies, so like Naked Wines, and there's a bunch of firms like that. And basically, what I found with them through testing is they follow a strategy of 2 to 3 content-based emails followed by 1 direct sales message over a sort of like 10 to 14-day period. And that seems to be quite effective. And I've used that across numerous markets. And I think as long as you sort of use content to build up interest over time and then have a hard sales message to people who have been warmed up, your response rates are much higher, your unsubscribe rates are lower, and people become more in tune with your brand values.
Any more questions?
What do you think of co-reg being an email guy?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
What do you think of co-reg? Co-registration?
Of courage?
Co-reg.
Co-registration.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Funny accent.
Australian accent, sorry.
G'day, mate. I don't know. That's all I know.
Shrimp on the barbie.
Right. That is... It's becoming a slipperier and slipperier slope, especially in Europe and in Canada. In the US, you have a lot more flexibility with it. So basically, you need to make things explicitly clear as to what's going on. And there's been a real trend in the EU of late to really clamp down on various privacy laws and whatnot. In fact, there's a new directive going through the EU about electronic communications. That's going to be amongst the most stringent on the planet. So the whole problem with co-reg, number one, from a legal standpoint, do people know that they're getting stuff from something that they signed up to when they signed up under one name, right? And secondly, from a user experience standpoint, if you sign up to a message from shop A and then you start getting messages from shop B, it sort of is a bit of a disjointed experience. That can have negative effects in terms of inbox placement also, because if you start getting lots of spam complaints from webmail ISPs, you could theoretically get blocked or get sent into the spam box more. So as long as you make it clear in the sign up text and then in the messages that go out, the reason why people are getting stuff, you'll get fewer complaints. You'll probably dodge the EU, the guys in Brussels and that. So yeah, that's sort of a wishy-washy answer. So that's what I think about it. Does that answer it?
I think we've got time for one more question. Or maybe we haven't. No more questions? Okay, well, I think we'll get out of school early, so a big round of applause for Parry. And now be free, my children.